Come and dream with me.
Hello, welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Exposure Network's premier media podcast. Every fortnight, we take the talk about movies, TV, and online content and help you answer the question: Louis Leterrier? Really? I'm your host, Ashley Hobley. Joining me today, Dylan Blight.
I don't think that's a question nearly 90% of people are wondering in the world.
For reference, for people, the other 10% of people who don't understand the reference. Louis, after, last episode, Justin Lin dropped out of Fast 10, Fast X. Louis Leterrier is the new director. Even after last episode, we gave him like 6 pretty solid candidates. Yeah,
I feel like any of our picks would have been better, but I mean, we'll see how the movie is. That's my.
I feel like it was timing more than anything else, probably.
Yeah,
although apparently he'd been someone they'd been eyeing in the past.
Okay.
So it's not completely out of left field, I guess.
All I know is Vin Diesel's still posting videos on Instagram where it seems like he's holding the cast
hostage. Yes.
Yeah.
So, it's not boding well. Apparently, it's almost been completely confirmed Vin Diesel was the reason that Justin Lee left the project. So, good times. Looking forward to this movie. All right, on today's show, we're talking about what's in our watch history, talking about a little bit of news, giving some thumbs to some trailers, and discussing this week's top 3. Kick things off with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, of course. We recorded a full spoiler cast over on All New Marvel Cast, which you should all check out on podcast services or over on youtube.com/exposure network. But Dylan, do you want to give people your non-spoilerly thoughts of the biggest movie of the last 2 weeks?
Of the last 2 weeks. It's okay. I think it's like someone asked me for a 1-word review recently. I said, meh. Like, he didn't want spoilers or anything. I was like, yeah. So, I mean, that's about my thoughts, I feel. I think the performances from everyone's like good in the movie. I think Sam Raimi brings a much needed different look and feel to the MCU. I just feel from a script story point of view, there's just a lot of issues I have with it. And it's just a very messy film. And again, I don't feel like it's a directing thing. I just think like it just jumps from scene to scene to scene, and it's like it's just, yeah, I don't know. I just felt like I got dragged through the movie rather than come along for like the ride or anything. So
it was drag me to the end of this movie.
Yeah, dragged me to hell. No, I mean not that close. But I couldn't help but go for the pun. No, I think it's okay, I guess. But yeah.
I enjoyed it a bit more than Dylan. I had a good time. Lots of fun to be had here. They definitely steer into the horror-esque vibes, especially in the later half of the film. It's going to please a lot of Marvel fans with all their dumb cameos and different stuff. I think fans of WandaVision might be a little bit upset, or people who Wanda stans will be a little bit upset, even though she probably gives her best performance, as Elizabeth Olsen gives her best performance as Wanda so far. But yeah, it's interesting. You should go watch it purely because, if you don't go watch it, you're going to be completely spoiled, because everything in this movie I've seen on Twitter or on YouTube. It's like, you made me feel bad for mentioning a character who makes a cameo, and it's like full on YouTube videos. Even like the other day, they've got Elizabeth Olsen doing a lie detector test. I don't know if you saw that clip going around.
Yeah, that's very funny. Yes,
it's very funny, but also a massive spoiler.
It is a massive spoiler. It's quite funny,
but yeah, good times. All right, so again, check out our spoiler cast over on All New Marvel Cast. Dylan, you've been checking out the new Amazon Prime series, Conversations with Friends, released yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know. Is this weekly? I mean, that's the thing. Like, I had screeners, so I don't actually know what the.
I'll check. Hang on, you go ahead.
Yeah, so we talked about this trailer a couple of weeks back, I think, when they dropped it initially. It's based on a book by, let me quickly see if I can fucking find that fast enough. Nope. Oh yeah, it's Sally Rooney. So it's based on a book by Sally Rooney. The plot of which I can sort of explain better because I like watching the trailer. I can't remember if I gave it double thumbs up or one up, one down, but I was like intrigued, but I didn't fully understand what the go was. But it's about two like 20 somethings, I guess they are, which is Bobby and Francis, played by Sasha Lane and Alison Oliver. Francis is the main character. Who meet, they're like in school, like college, uni, whatever it's called. I don't know things how they work. Anyway, they're in their final year, and they go to like this club and they do, you know, like performance poetry together, sort of thing, where Francis writes it and Bobby's like the main performer. They used to be like partners, like together, and they broke up but just kept being friends and they do stuff together or whatever. Anyway, they meet Melissa, who's played by Jemima Kirk, who people most recently would recognize from the last season of Sex Education. She played the new principal. And she's like a well-known like author. They know who she is, and she like really likes their poetry and everything, and she invites them to come hang out with her. Bobby takes a big interest in Melissa. At the house, they meet her husband, who's Nick, played by Joe Alwyn, and Francis gets a crush on her. I mean, long story short, not to spoil like everything, but within like an episode or two, there's multiple like sort of secret relationships sort of happening in the background while everyone's still trying to be friendly and friends, and yeah, I mean, conversations with friends. It's obviously goes, you're touching on, so I've watched the first 5 episodes. That's what I got screeners for. I think it's very good. I'm very keen to watch the rest. They're half hour too, so that's the other thing. You're not they're not 42 minutes out now. They're like 30 minutes each, something around that. So easy sort of fly by, but there's a lot more to it as well. Like in recent episodes, it started diving into Francis's father, who's like a bit of an alcoholic and stuff she's dealing with him. So there are other stories happening in the background. It's not just, they're like the 20-somethings fucking around with the 30-year-old married couple. Like there's a lot of interesting things happening also between Nick and Melissa and their history, which I recently started learning a bit more about in the background. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I think it's shot really well. I like the style, I like all the characters, I like the way it's written. I'm keen to see the rest of this through for sure. Did you find an answer to the initial question?
Apparently, it's all releasing at once.
Okay, interesting.
Which is, well, at least on Hulu, so I assume Amazon Prime's going to follow suit. But apparently it's also airing like on ITV, I want to say off the top of my head.
It's a
England.
BBC co-produced thing, so like at the start of every episode says blah 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 in association with BBC. So
yeah, so probably collaboration or whatever with them. So yeah. All right, I checked out the new Star Trek series that just released on Paramount Plus. Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. So this is a spin-off from the second season of Star Wars Discovery, but is set before the events of the original Star Trek.
You've lost me already, but continue.
I think it's a solid jumping on point, but there is a little bit of like backstory that you would need to understand. Obviously, follows the crew. It follows the crew of the Enterprise in the 23rd century, captained by Captain Christopher Pike, played by Anson Mount. As they go on different adventures. It's like 2 episodes in. Doesn't seem like there's a clear like overall seasonal thing. But the big thing is that during Star Trek Discovery, Captain Pike, through, I can't remember how exactly it happens, but he learns he's going to die in 10 years. And he sees exactly how he's going to die. So this is, so far it's been a thing of him dealing with this information and like how it affects him going forward and how it's going to affect what he does going forward and that kind of stuff. Of course, we've got Ethan Peck come back as Spock, and Rebecca Romijn as number 1, who are both like back from the original series and that kind of stuff. You've also got another young actress playing. So it's Cecilia Rose Gooding plays Nyuta Uhara. So, Uhara from Star Trek. And you've also got Sam Kirk. Jim Kirk's big brother. Yeah. So
is that it? It's Jim Kirk's big brother.
Yeah, he is.
Sam
so
Kirk.
That's going to be something apparently explored because they've already cast James Kirk for season 2. So, 2 episodes so far. I'm enjoying it. It's very Star Trek, at least from what I know of Star Trek, which is very limited. Is limited to Discovery and the movies, like the Abrams movies.
Yeah, I was about to say the new movies, not the
new movies. Yeah,
old movies.
But yeah, it's a bit of fun. Good, solid special effects. Looks pretty. Some interesting story beats and ideas. But yeah, I think it's worth a shot. Again, it's like it's like an interesting, because it is a spin-off, it's like, is it a very good jumping on point? But I think it's, if you're just looking for, so far it's just fun one-off Star Trek adventures, this is solid. I think it's a bit easier point to get into than jumping into the latest season of Discovery or getting into Picard, I feel like. So yeah, I would recommend checking it out on Paramount Plus if you got Paramount Plus. Dylan, a while ago you got a screener for a movie that's just released in limited release here in Australia, Little Tornadoes.
Yeah, it's a Australian film. It's good though. So I mean,
why did you need to make it Australian film? But it's good though.
I mean, I just saying it's good, but usually I don't know. I've been having a string of bad luck for movies lately. I'm trying to find an actor. So this dude, so the character's name's Leo, right? So Leo is this dude played Mark Leonard Winter. He's my only sort of complaint is I hate his hair in this movie at times. It sort of just looks fake off to me. I don't know if that's a weird thing to say, but honestly, that's the sort of thing I have going for it. Anyway, he's a single father. I don't think it's a spoiler to say the mother exists, but she more or less, you get the vibe from the movie that she wants nothing to do with the family. She's just sort of run off. It's set during the 70s. So he's a single dad, maybe mid to early 30s. I can't remember if they actually clearly pinpoint this dude's age, but maybe around that sort of thing. He works at I don't know exactly what it is because they only ever show him drilling in the metal. Maybe he's making car hoods or some shit. I don't know. Anyway, a factory job. He's got a very sort of structured sort of style. He's trying to raise this kid by himself while, doing all those other things. It's not really, again, it's, if you can't gather from my description, it's not a movie really about anything in particular. It's definitely a character piece, but it's very good. It's hits on sort of Australia during that time, the working class struggles, I guess, mental health issues as well, for sure. What else would it be? Also, I'm forgetting. I'm struggling with my words today. It also touches on what do you call it when you come to Australia from somewhere else? Immigration. Yeah, that's definitely the points of immigration discussion as well. Racism as well. There's certainly there's a guy that he becomes friends with at work. And his other people he works with are definitely racist towards him. In a few ways. So there's a lot going on in the movie. I think it's very good. I think it's not a particularly fun watch, but I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean it's shot beautifully. The cinematography is really, really good. However, it's sort of it's one of those sort of depressing movies, to sort of slog through. And not to say there's anything that's so heavy that, it's going to keep you up haunting you. It's just it's just the sort of, it's like watching a movie where it's raining all the time. You're just sort of down, down while you're watching it. But the other thing I remember, so after I watched this, I looked up the director because I hadn't actually seen anything of his other things before. So I found it quite interesting. He'd done this other movie, and he's doing like apparently this, what would you call it? Like a, a bunch of a trilogy where they're not really connected, but they are sort of things. So the other one, the first one of these is Canopy, which came out in 2013. So I'm gonna try and track that down and see if I can watch that. I've seen potential. I was looking at the cast and the story, and I was like, I think you could, like, maybe you can connect these movies because, like, there's a character in that movie, and that's set during 1942 during the war, right? And there's a character, the main character in that's called Jim. Now, there's a character in Little Tornadoes. The main guy's dad is called Jim, and he's he's an asshole at all points you sort of see him. But, like, I'm also like, and that's one of the points the movie touches on, I guess, like how the war affected, how, like, some people were, like, kids were raised of people who, like, fathers who were in the war and these sorts of things. So I think maybe, because then I was looking at, like, reading about potentially upcoming projects, and it's almost like the third movie may be about, like, now this movie's kid. So then it's like a generational thing, like, where they're all sort of solo movies, but also connected in that way, which I thought was quite interesting, and all, like, set in Australia or different sorts of ways. But yeah, I liked it. I definitely would suggest watching it. It's shot I think actually the cinematographer, if I double check, because I did look this up ages ago when I watched it. Now I forgot. Yeah, the cinematographer is Stefan Duskio. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Anyway, they done The Dry as well as a bunch of other things, including, like, The Visible Man, stuff like that. So very good upgrade, like a lot of recent Australian film stuff. And yeah, it's definitely a very well shot, photographed movie. So I do check it out if you can watch it in the cinema.
Yeah. Check out fan-force.com. I think that's got a list of screenings, or you can pre-order. It's a confusing thing, but yeah. Sounds good. Sounds worth checking out. All right. I finally got around to watching McMillions, the documentary series following the giant McDonald's Monopoly game scam that was happening in America.
Yeah. I watched this like a year ago, right?
Yes.
I can't remember. Times a blur. Was that last year? Yeah.
I think so.
When did it come out?
The year before.
Yeah, I'm not even memeing. I honestly get the last 2 years so jumbled up. I don't know time.
2020. So.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, so followers told over the 6 episodes what happened with that massive scam and how, they were stealing the main prize pieces and giving them to family members and that kind of stuff, and kind of raking in all this money, and no one kind of realized what was happening and how it was happening. And then them running kind of a sting right on the last one. When they find out, they worked with McDonald's to pull off a sting. I think very well done. I think it probably runs a little bit too long. But yeah, an interesting true crime story. One very unexpected. A lot of interesting personalities, I think, involved and interviewed, especially on the FBI side, with, like, people who would really wanted to go undercover but had absolutely no training to go undercover, but they went undercover anyway. But yeah, the reason I watched this was obviously that's the documentary they did, that team, but now they've done The Big Con, which is over on Apple TV Plus, which follows Social Security lawyer, or solicitor, I think is the correct term, Eric C. Conn, who became part of a massive insurance Social Security fraud scheme that stole millions of dollars from the American government. Like, almost $500 million is in total. Not him personally, but yeah. It's fine. There are certain elements that are, I think, again, this I feel is a couple, maybe like an episode too long. It could have been condensed.
How long is this? 6 as well, or like what's the?
So it's only 4. But
Okay.
again, I don't think the story is big enough, kind of, for multiple this many episodes.
I don't remember having complaints about McMillion's episodes. Maybe I just like listening to these because, as you said, there are personalities in that show. So maybe that's why I never got bored, because everyone talking is just so unique. Like even the FBI dudes, who are usually the most boring, like sort of talking heads and those sorts of things, even they're all like, yeah, quite above what you'd expect.
Yeah, it just, I mean, there are interesting personalities and that kind of stuff. And, you know, Eric Con himself is interesting because when he was captured, he wrote a full manuscript for like a novel or something he wanted to get published of his version of events, which, you know, quite interesting.
Does he try and say he didn't do any cons, or like he wasn't part of the...
No, he just thought of him. He thinks of himself as like a suave, like James Bond type. Okay. Especially when he's actually because you know, he goes on the run through South America. So he's pulling all these different schemes to get away from different people and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think it's interesting. There are some interesting characters, but I think this one has this story has a bigger impact, like, because not only did what they did was they were just anybody who wanted Social Security or like disability payments, they just got a doctor to clear them, and then a judge would just rubber stamp them, not check any of the paperwork, and it would just all go through, and then their clients would just get their payments. So whether they were actually disabled or not disabled, everybody would get their payments. So when the actual government realized what was happening, they cancelled everybody's payments. And now all those people who are actually disabled and actually needed those payments aren't able to get them until they like reapply, which takes a long period of time. Still several thousands of people are still without their payments and that kind of stuff. So it's like there's actually victims of this situation, whereas in the McMillions it was like people didn't win. Oh no. You know, so yeah, obviously, you know, they actually do have, I think this is another key thing, they have Eric C. Con in the documentary. He's agreed to be a part of it. Like, it's on landline from his prison cell. Spoilers. But, you know, that also adds an extra layer to it, which I think, you know, the McMillions documentary doesn't have, because the major players weren't involved, so. But yeah, really interesting, but again, I think it just kind of dragged a little bit. It could have been a little bit condensed. While I'm also on this documentary train, I watched I Love You, Now Die. So this is the what's her name again? Michelle Carter documentary. So it's 2 episodes. And it follows the trial of Michelle Carter. So she's the girl who sent aggressive text to her boyfriend encouraging him to commit suicide. It's currently the Girl from Plainville TV series that Elle Fanning is currently starring in. Really interesting, I think. Just like interesting discussion as to whether she did anything legally wrong.
I was about to say, I thought you were about to say wrong, and I was like, nah, I'm pretty sure that's...
Yeah, that's the thing that's going to be coming up a lot in some of my watching. Like, yeah, she did something that is, you would definitely agree is morally wrong, like telling someone to commit suicide, especially when they got out of their car, and then you told them to go back in. But legally, is there any reason for her to go to jail?
Well, I mean, that's why they had a court case.
That's why they had a big court case, and like that kind of stuff, and like kind of delving into why she would do this, delving into both parties, like the kid who commits suicide and that kind of stuff. It's done because it's done in a way where it's like the accusing side is mainly focused in the first episode, and then defense is in the second episode. So you're kind of like, yeah, she's definitely wrong and like did the wrong thing. She definitely go get prison time, and then you get the second episode and you're like, oh, then maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. yeah, it's interesting. Also makes me kind of intrigued to see what they've done with the TV series and how they've landed on their portrayal. If anything else, like, this one of these documentaries that have had a TV series done dramatization of them, this one's probably one of the ones that is more interesting. Even just to read up how they tackled that subject matter. But yeah. Then I also watched I'll Be Gone in the Dark. So this is the documentary that follows the Michelle McNamara quest to discover the identity of the Golden State Killer. I think that's an important context. So Michelle McNamara, the late wife of Patton Oswalt, who was a true crime writer, did the, I think, true crime blog, I'm going to say off the top of my head. Like a pretty big, she's a pretty big figure in the true crime community, which, that's a kind of a massive market nowadays. Yeah, she kind of had this, she got an obsession kind of with the Golden State Killer, who was a person who committed multiple rapes across San Diego. No, not San Diego. It's all over California. So yeah, I think it's San Diego where it started and it kind of worked down. But yeah, he would commit all these crimes, hideous, like bad crimes, but he was never found, never discovered, until, very, very recently. But Michelle McNamara was someone who was discussing it, covering it, did like a massive magazine article that kind of reignited interest in the case. And then, she was compiling a book, and then she unfortunately passed away in the process. And then, her book releases afterwards. And then, they find the Golden State Killer not long after that. So all these kind of events kind of covers her story kind of being intermingled with the Golden State Killer's story, but then also a lot of interviews with like the victims and that kind of stuff. So it's very much like, it's kind of a weird documentary adaptation of her novel, of her book, which was very much told in the same sort of way. I found it very riveting. It's very sad to see. It's a lot of archival footage of her, and like this, she did a lot of like podcasts, interviews, and that kind of stuff. So she's in the documentary a lot, even though they like weren't filming a documentary. You know what I mean? Or like interview footage of stuff that she recorded herself and that kind of stuff. Yeah, really good. Really happy this guy is behind bars, because some of the stuff he did was pretty messed up, and like, yeah, it's kind of, thank God for DNA testing. All right, nowadays. Yeah, we'll get into DNA testing again later in this episode. And I'll just finish up on another documentary I watched. Spring Awakening, Those You've Known. So this is a documentary / concert film of the Broadway production team of Spring Awakening, which was a musical back in 2005, I want to say off the top of my head, which launched the careers of people like Jonathan Groff, Lea Michele, Skylar Astin, and John Gallagher Jr. Pretty much, they're the cast of the Tony Award winning musical decided, hey, we're gonna do a reunion for one night only, in aid for Broadway, like an Actors Trust sort of thing. And they kind of, did a pro shoot of the actual concert. So, you've got footage of them singing the songs from the musical, but also they do they explain like the process of how the musical got made, and the story of it coming from being off Broadway, like this small thing that they weren't sure was going to be successful at all, to being a big Broadway hit and that kind of stuff. Again, really interesting story. Obviously a lot of interesting people and people, like telling you their origin story and that kind of stuff. And like, I knew barely anything about Spring Awakening, but it is a pretty messed up musical involving abortion and and suicide and all these sort of things for young 18-year-old, or like they're meant to be portraying like 14-year-old kids and that kind of thing. So yeah, I would recommend checking that out if you're interested in musicals at all, like I am. Dylan, talk to me about the new series, We Own This City.
We Own This City. Did we watch the? I think we did. I can't keep.
We watched the trailer. Yes,
we did. We watched the trailer on Films for Trailers several weeks ago. So it's the. I can't remember the creator's name. I have to look it up real quick. But anyway, the dude who did The Wire, right? So that's the creator of this show. It's his name, David Simon. That's it. Yeah. It's a series, and I didn't gather this from the trailer, which is the interesting thing. So it jumps around a lot, but that's really helps it keep its pace like such a high regards upwards. But it focuses on the Baltimore police department, and I believe like it's all based on like real events, I guess, to a degree. I don't know how much of the I actually haven't Googled or looked up like how many of the cops are real people, or if they're just based on, different sorts of police combined, like that sort of thing. I don't know. But, like for instance, the opening credit scenes, like all real footage, and, it gives you this vibe of like, this shit's real. So, but it's, even though you watch the trailer and it looks like John Bernthal is sort of going to be the main character, he is and he isn't. Like there's so many characters in this that it's like no one's sort of the main character, and it jumps around so much that there's points where he's not even in it. Like, so the show starts in like 2013. You get introduced to these cops. They're all like either super racist or like highly abusive with their power, just ready to make a booking and make a name for themselves. The mayor, you've got the city, or where it's like, maybe not the mayor, I can't remember how it works. It's like they're asking for like more bookings and stuff because they're down, because there's a recent court case. I can't remember the person's name, but like imagine a like viral case where a cop gets caught doing like racist thing or something like that, and now cops are afraid to book people because of that, even though it doesn't really make sense, because it's like, well, if you're booking people for the right reason, then there's nothing to be afraid of. But anyway, they also have all the cops, at least in this particular group. I can't remember the official name, but it's like the gun task force or something. Like their job is to like seek out and get guns off the street, more or less. That's what John Berthnall's part of. But that unit, a special unit, like they'll raid houses and like get guns, but then like say they find like $10,000 cash, they're like pocketing it, like they're taking all that shit home themselves, and that's sort of what they're been doing. You see it then jumps around more, where you'll see present day like FBI interviewing some of the cops, asking about things, and then like so it'll jump back like a year or two. Other times it jumps back like 10 years. You'll learn the date, like whenever it does a skip, it'll like have the person's name like on a like a police report file. It'll say like Jenkins Wayne, like like 2003, blah 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 offense. Like it'll see this, jump around, but it's not like right. Like sometimes you may see John Berthnall's character like 5 years prior, and then suddenly by the third episode they're jumping back to like him just joining the Baltimore Police Department and like showing that he wasn't a like super arrogant racist or like abusive cop when he joined the force, and like it was actually the first person he met on the day. He's like, forget everything you learned during the police days. I'll show you how we do it in fucking Baltimore, and all this sort of stuff. And then meanwhile you've got this other character who's played by Wumi Masaka. I can't remember what her official title is, but like imagine like she's investigating the police force, but like not from an outsider's point of view, like she's part of the state or whatever sort of thing, and she's like investigating it. But it's really really good. Like it's just it's a really well written, acted, shot television show. It's definitely going to get the Emmy nominations. You can already like sense it. It's something, if you like good TV, you should be watching. If you've watched The Wire, you should be watching. You're probably watching it anyway. It's only going to be 8 episodes, I think, or something like that. Let me check. No, it's only 6, so fucking, there you go, even better. So definitely watch We Own the City. It's top tier shit.
All right. I'll catch up on some stuff that I've talked about before. Winning Time, The Rise of the Los Angeles Lakers is finished for its first season. It's confirmed that it's coming back for a second season. Really enjoyable. Like, you know, as someone who does understand, has some knowledge of that basketball and like the overall idea of what's going on and what's happening, was really a fun watch. And like I think some of the best shot basketball like I've seen in a television show. Like it feels like it's actually in game and that kind of stuff. Even in the finale, they cut to like actual footage from the NBA finals or whatever. But yeah, there's it's been interesting because I've also checked, like, as I've been going on long, I've been like checking like what happened to this person and like did this really happen and that kind of stuff along the way. And they do make a pretty big change in the finale that like is going to cause tension potentially in the second season. But yeah, really enjoyable, really great cast. Yeah, I recommend it. It's not top tier. It's probably like a B level show, but you know, it's pretty good. Also finished watching How I Met Your Father. The 10 episodes finished releasing on Disney Plus. I'm sure anybody knows that this big cameo at the end of the season. It's enjoyable. I've had a good time watching it. It's like super easy TV to watch. It does hit that slight nostalgia vibes of that format and like those kind of stories. But it does have an air of like we're back to where we started at the end of the season. But I'm very keen for a season 2. I think, you know, everybody in the cast is really fun and enjoyable. I mean, it's not How I Met Your Mother as much as I love that show. But yeah, it's pretty solid, and there's a lot of lots to like there. So I'm looking forward to.
Who do you reckon the father is?
I feel like it's going to be what's his face.
Yep. As someone who hasn't watched the show, you've narrowed it down.
From Glow, and
oh right, yeah, okay.
Chris Lowell. I feel it's got to be him. You know?
Okay.
Absolutely. But yeah, we'll see in season 2 if they have to quickly figure out who the father is. Slow Horses finished its season pretty solid. Really solid, like spy story, following these kind of misfit offcuts from the main MI5, who, you know, work together to solve the problem and also stop a scheme of like a massive conspiracy being pinned on them as well. Really enjoyable. Gary Oldman playing he plays a prick who does not give any fucks about anything. But yeah, really interesting, and at the end of the season you get a glimpse as to why he's the kind of the way he is and that kind of stuff. And then they also set up season 2, which apparently is shot and is probably coming.
Apparently they've shot season 2 and 3, so
yeah, incredible. So yeah, they do like a full-on trailer at the end of the season. So
okay,
setting up season 2. So
yeah, I think you're getting season 2 before the end of the year. Is the word on the street.
Looking forward to that because yeah, I feel like this was a nice setup of like the characters and the team, and then from what I've seen of the trailer, it's got me excited for what could potentially.
So when I wrote the news story for ExplosionNetwork.com saying that season 2 and 3 was like coming, I googled the books and everything. There's like 8, like there's a new book coming out this year, or just came out, or is about to come out. Like there's like 8 books or something. So there's a lot of
content.
There's a lot of content. Yeah.
Apparently Gary Oldman is, you know,
he's a super fan. He's read them all, and he's the one who signed on first. And which is funny because that means he literally loved it and went, "Can I play the prick? Because I would love to play this role. This sounds
plays
great.
the prick really well."
Yeah, because he was the first one signed on before they even got a director or any of the cast.
Yeah.
Like he was. Yeah.
Apparently he wants to retire soon, so you know that's why they're pumping out this season so quickly.
Yeah, maybe that's why.
Yeah. Young Rock, the TV series that tells the history of Dwayne the Rock Johnson, his childhood and that kind of stuff. Fantastic. Really enjoying season 2. Season 2 did like the bookends of each episode is Randall Park is joining him on his last week before his presidential campaign. So it was them two just being best buddies all season, which is a lot of fun.
Who's Randall Park play himself?
He plays Randall Park.
Okay.
He plays a future version of Randall Park.
Yeah.
Who's been in like Aquaman 3. Apparently he's been in all sorts of fun projects that are fun to watch. It's just fun seeing them like kind of have fun shenanigans or like dealing with different things, like Rock recounting different stories for different reasons. I think in one of the most prominent recent episodes, like he's sick and he's explaining to, he's talking to Randall about why he feels the need to keep pushing through stuff even though he doesn't feel 100%. Or like in the last episode, he's like, he joins The Rock on one of his cheat meal days. So when they cut back to them every single time, they're just eating a different thing. It's like pretty incredible. A lot of fun. And The Rock has like a really, apparently published a really fantastic cookbook. So I look forward to that in the near future. But yeah, this season delves a little bit more in The Rock actually doing wrestling. Whereas last year, during that time, the eldest timeline, he was playing football. Yeah. So this year he makes the kind of transition. And that has ramifications. So in the episode Corpus Christi, which I recommend anyone who's a wrestling fan, just at least check that episode out. You have cameos from people like The Undertaker, Mankind, Steve Austin, Triple H, Manator, and you have Colt Cabana playing the Brooklyn Brawler. So a lot of fun, like little cameos for, wrestling fans, people who actually follow The Rock and that kind of stuff. As he has like his first tryout match for the WWE. I think it's pretty solid, really good sitcom, worth checking out. Even with like the multiple timelines, it's like not that difficult to follow, and they do kind of catch you up each episode if you need to, because you've got Randall there too, like oh yeah, you told me about blah 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 blah. But yeah, good times. I'm definitely recommending that. So last episode we talked about Jerry Carmichael's new movie that's coming out, maybe here in Australia, but definitely in America. But he did release his new special, Nathaniel, in which I guess the main like plot point or like the big news story out of this special was he was coming out as gay in this special, as like he's got a very conversational style, even to the point where people in the audience are asking him questions, which I think is like really interesting, and like I think is definitely worth a watch. It's currently on binge along with his other specials. I also watched his previous special 8, and like it's interesting to watch those kind of back to back and like seeing he's asking a lot of questions about how he is and why he hasn't done certain things, and then them kind of being answered in his later special. So I would recommend watching 8 before Nathaniel, but yes. Really funny, really insightful guy. But yeah, that he's got a conversational style of delivery that is very different from anybody else I've seen currently. And just like the theater, it's shot by Bo Burnham and everything. So yeah, I think it's definitely worth checking out. They're both on binge. So yeah, check out those stand-up specials. All right, let's move into the mandatory Netflix segment of the show. Jumping back to stuff about DNA, I checked out the documentary Our Father. Has any of you heard about this one?
He's making sperm babies with his sperm, right? That one?
Yeah. So this is produced by Blumhouse Pictures. To put context,
I did want to watch this. I saw, but yeah, I haven't, but I do.
Yeah. So the premise is after a woman's at-home DNA test reveals multiple half-siblings, she discovers a shocking scheme involving donor sperm and the popular and controversial fertility specialist Dr. Donald Klein. This is a messed up story.
Yeah, I mean, just the synopsis, you go, that's fucked.
Yeah, it is very fucked. And again, it's like, it just kind of makes you angry at a certain point, because again, it's a matter of, sure, it's a morally, ethically wrong thing he did, But did you do anything illegal?
I mean, I'm sure there's like legality as like a doctor, like a like
You would think so, but fucking hell. But yeah, there's just the hearing the constant stories of these people finding out that they're
all
not
related.
They're all related, but then they're like some of these people like they thought they had their father's DNA in them, and that's not true. And yeah, it's pretty messed up, and like there's theories as to why he did the thing that he did. All sorts of like
because he's
elements.
a sick fuck. How about that?
Yeah, but is it more than that?
Yeah.
Again, it's one of those things where they don't know for certain because, he to a certain extent he was like denying constantly. He even told one of his one of the kids, like, please don't come up with this story, it'll ruin my life if you come out with this story. Yeah, it is a really messed up story, and like it's still kind of ongoing because every day the number of these half siblings keeps growing and growing. It is
Is that a movie or a show? I actually didn't look into that part.
It's a movie. It's okay. 2 hours, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely has. Again, by Blumhouse, it does have like a certain like horror element vibe, and like every time it's revealed, there's a higher number of siblings. There's like a weird sound. I can't place exactly what the sound is. I'm not sure if it's like a pleasurable groan, as in because what he was doing was he was producing seed in one room and then going and inseminating it in another room. And it kind of opens with like they've got like an actor like portraying reenactments of like doing that. So yeah, messed up story. Fucking hell, like I think this story might put you off fertility treatments. So yeah, check that out. If you don't want to be if you want to be scarred. Also watch Senior Year. So this is the new Rebel Wilson film in which she, as a high schooler played by Angry Rice, gets knocked out and put in a coma for 20 years. Wakes up modern day, and this is a girl who desperately wants to be prom queen. That was her. She has this whole idea of her dream life. So she decides to go back to high school as a 37-year-old woman to complete high school, become prom queen. This is it's not good, but it's enjoyable. It's obviously influenced by a lot of films. All of those films are kind of better than this. Like Never Been Kissed, or
any high school
going on 30, or any probably teen rom-com for the last 20 years.
What's the Zac Efron one? 21 again.
21 again, yeah, or something like that. 17 again.
Yeah, 17 again.
That makes more sense because he's in high school.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like. There's a lot to like there, even though Rebel Wilson plays a very unlikable character who is obsessed with like being popular and having this dream life. But I feel like the supporting people around her are really great. Zoe Chow is like her rival from back in the day. Sam Richardson is like the friend who was in love with her. Even Justin Hartley plays her old high school boyfriend who's still kind of obsessed with her, even though he's married with a 17-year-old child. Yeah.
She's going to school with now?
She's literally going to school with his child. And she is a massive like Instagram influencer, curated by her mother, who's played by Zoe Chow, the rival.
Right. Yep.
It's the whole thing. But yeah, I think there's sweet moments and that kind of stuff, but it's not like transcendent of the genre. It's like a product of the genre, of all the films that came before it. Although they do explain why she's got an Australian accent. She's Australian. They just moved from Australia. That's it. Done. No more
What
questions.
comas do? You have an Australian accent when you come out.
No. She moved as a child to America from Australia. Yeah, because even Ungary Rice has like an Australian accent in her segments
Does
and
she?
stuff. Yeah.
She's American though, right?
She's Australian.
Oh, okay.
Mind blowing.
Shit.
Damn. Alright, that's everything that's our watch history. Let's move into some film news. Avatar. Way of the Water. I
What's
know
that?
we're not talking about thumbs of trailers yet, but the new teaser trailer that was at CinemaCon and also in front of Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness was released online last week, and in the first 24 hours, it racked up 148.6 million views, including 23 million from China alone, according to Disney and 20th Century. That's ahead of the recent Star Wars films, including Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker, doing huge numbers. Dylan, does that translate to actual people going to see Avatar 2? Or is this a case of, wow, they're making Avatar 2? Is this genuine interest, or is it morbid curiosity that is explaining these numbers?
I'd say both, but I believe that the first film was such a massive hit that it makes sense that so many people are interested in this one. I'm keen to see how numbers for a second, like, or a first actual proper trailer, not a teaser, does in comparison, sort of thing. But yeah, I'm no doubt in my mind that the movie's going to do a lot of money and that there's a lot of interest for it. I'll just be interested to see how that actually compares to the first film, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, obviously, the first movie, it made $1 billion. Or several billion. It's the highest grossing movie of all time. Of course, there's going to be people who will watch a teaser trailer. I think I can safely say we're both meh on it. But obviously, other people are having, like, a bigger reaction. Like, special effects wise, it's impressive that so much of it is animated effectively. Especially with so much water. But yeah, as a trailer, it's kind of there's not much meat there. It's just
how many times did you watch it, do you reckon, the first one?
Avatar?
Yeah.
Twice.
Like cinema and then home, or?
No, twice in the cinema.
Okay, right. Yeah, I saw it twice. I saw it twice in the cinema, and then I think I've watched it maybe 2-3 times on Blu-ray, not because I wanted to, but because like my dad loved it and he wanted to watch it one night, and then like I had a friend at the time who loved it. He would have it on all the fucking time. And the weirdest thing about that is he never went and watched it in the cinema. He got obsessed with it when
in 3D.
In 3D, and he got obsessed with it when it came out on Blu-ray. So that's why I'm not friends with that person anymore. So the but I haven't watched it for like 10 years, I guess.
Look forward to our spoiler cast later this year.
Yeah, I was about to say, we're definitely doing a spoiler cast later this year, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Dylan, these couple of news stories are relevant to you. Attention all horror fans, this is not a drill. Kirby lives and she's coming back for Scream 6. Absolutely no disrespect to the brilliant, remarkable, talented survivors of Scream 5 who are announced as coming back for Scream 6, but Hayden Panettiere is reviving her fan-favourite role from the much-maligned Scream 4 is the best possible news regarding the sequel. Dylan, why should people care about Hayden Panettiere in Scream 6?
She's great in that movie, and she's well known to be like the most beloved character from that film. And the character most people wanted to return from previous films, to the point that they actually confirm at some point in Scream 5, I can't remember exactly where it is now, but at some point there's like a clipping or a newsreel or I don't know, something that says like where her name pops up, and I remember reading someone spotted it and being like, oh my god, she lives, that means she could be in the sequel one day, and here we are. So she is indeed going to be in the sequel. Yeah, she's spoilers, she survived Scream 4. She doesn't die in that film. But yeah, she's just a generally cool character that I think a lot of people fell in love with, or the fan base, in a franchise where, other than the three main cast members from the first one, nearly everyone dies, or the people who happen to live between movies, people never really got attached to those characters to the point that they wanted them to return. I think she's the only character who hasn't died that fans have actually called to have come back from the first four movies, which is good. Yeah, so I'm definitely keen to see her come back and how that all comes into play, because the Scream 4 is like a weird one, because it's not part of the original trilogy. It was supposed to be like a pseudo, like much like 5, I guess, like sort of refresh reboot to the franchise. It is not. They call it maligned. I say no. I actually think it's a really, really good movie. And I think it's just sort of underappreciated, actually. I think I've said it a lot of times, I think it was ahead of its time as far as like themes and stuff that they touch on in that movie. I think it would have played a lot better had it released these days, to be completely honest. I can't say why without spoilers, but if you know, you know. But yeah, I'm very keen. I'm obviously very keen for the sequel. I'd get worried if they're rushing out a sequel, but yeah, fuck it. In this case, I'm like, whatever. I don't care. They had so many ideas apparently for like directions to go, or so they're saying. So fuck it. All aboard the Scream hype train. Let's go.
Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of positive reaction, at least from my Twitter timeline. So obviously, you know, a lot of people with good taste, I guess. I know. But yeah, you know, good news for all you Scream fans out there. I keep screaming, I guess. Jackass. Jackass is heading back to the small screen with a new series from the original creators in the works of Paramount Plus after the immense popularity of Jackass Forever. Paramount Global CEO Bob Bakish said, based off the success of Jackass Forever, we're working with the creators to continue the partnership with the new series, bringing even more ridiculous antics straight to Paramount Plus. Of course, Jackass Forever, the fourth film in the long-running franchise, debuted at the top of domestic box office in February with a better than expected $23.5 million. Dylan, how do you feel about Jackass coming back to streaming services in the near future?
Oh, good. I think, like in our spoiler cast discussion we did with Ryan Betson from the Pop Cultures for Jackass Forever, we were talking about the future of the franchise and, you know, saying it would be like I think we kicked around the idea of a TV show return and Paramount Plus and all these sorts of things, I think, in that show. So we spawned
this TV series.
We spawned this. I think we kind of made it happen, to be completely honest. But I mean, yeah, I think Jackass as a show, like definitely in the age of streaming, is a like sort of fits really well as a program to make for that, and I think it will do very well on Paramount Plus. I'll be highly surprised if it's a failure, but it's sort of they can do exactly what, and if they want to leave the opportunity open for another movie, it's like, well, they plan around that. You know, you do the 8-10 episodes or whatever the show. If you come up with an idea that sounds just like a bit too large, you pocket it on the side for if the TV show is a success and they want to put some money back into doing another movie, and you sit that across there. But then otherwise the show can sort of, it can be mostly the new cast. It can have cameo appearances. You know, you sort of have Steve-O on one episode come do like sort of something, or, you know, like you spread Johnny Knoxville in another one. Like we've said in that show that in the spoiler cast for Forever, it's like they're mostly going to be relegated to, you know, not so much of the hardcore stuff these days, especially the hard hitting stuff, because they're simply too old. So, but you can still have them do some of the smaller stuff. You can still have them do some pranks and, you know, bits and pieces like that. Steve-O still does stunts, just nothing like super hardcore. Johnny Knoxville, I'm sure, would still do some stuff as long as it's not a bull or anything that's going to like cause damage. Like he would still do like stuff, you know, like stuff that'll hurt, but not, you know, like paintballs or, you know, anything that's not like super dangerous. Like, so there's always going to be, yeah, I think people always argue in the world of YouTubers and where people like, basically there's like, oh, these people want to be jackasses and stuff. It's like that something like this would fail. But I think the success of the movie proved that there's still an audience, and the brand new cast they've picked together in forever. It's like a TV show is really what they need, because introducing those new members in the movie, one of the complaints was we didn't really know them. We never really got to know them. A lot of them didn't get enough time. But of course the original cast, we got to know them over a couple seasons of a TV show before the movie. So it's like, let's get the new guys their TV time. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. It sounds like a good idea, things we came up with it. But as someone who never watched the actual TV show and only watched the movies, what was the difference between the TV show and the movies?
Nothing, just the
scale.
The scale, and because it was on MTV originally, there was a lot of stuff they weren't allowed to do because of the rating and stuff. So a lot of the ideas they had, like literally the Jackass, the first movie, was everything they thought of that MTV said no. Like, was more or less what that movie boiled down to. There was no, like, extravagant reason for a lot of it. It was just like, we couldn't do this on TV, we'll do it in the movie. So whether or not they change up the formula for the show, I don't know. But yeah, the Jackass TV show was half-hour show. It was just, like, stunts. Like, there would be, like, you know, it's literally the same structure as the movie, except just shorter. And not as big quite often, so... Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only worry is obviously the original cast aren't going to be as heavily involved, or like doing all the dumb stunts. Is the magic going to still be there if they're not hurting themselves? Is it the audience loving them getting hurt and their connection to them, or is it just their brand of stunts? I guess I don't know.
Yeah, there's no way to
know until they do it.
There's no way until they do it. But I mean, like, I watched Forever again recently. Like, picked up the Blu-ray and watched
coming
that
out very soon.
Yeah, and we're going to be watching 4.5 very soon, and we'll do. I believe we're planning to do a spoiler cast with Brian again for that. Get him back for that. So we'll be talking a lot more about Jackass. But on my rewatch of Forever, like, again, I'm like majorly changed my thoughts, but. I did feel like, because I'd seen those new cast members at least like one time before, that I was like vibing a bit more with them on the rewatch, like because I'd sort of already been introduced to them. But again, that's because I didn't have that TV show moment. I didn't know any of these people; they were all strangers. So rewatching it, I'm like, oh, I know this person now. Like, I know like who they are. So I think the TV show would be like, I really can't say for sure. I don't feel like there's a Johnny Knoxville amongst that new cast. Does that mean they need to add more people, or do they just keep Johnny Knoxville around? I don't know. But either way, I feel like you could, the TV show, it should 100% focus on the new cast and not rely on the OGs, especially if that's, if you want the franchise and Jackass to continue into the future, you can't keep resting on the OGs because
you'll kill them.
Yeah, because you'll kill them. Yeah.
Yeah. So coming to Paramount Plus sometime in the future. Surely it wouldn't be that hard to make it. They could get around.
Well, it's cheap. It's cheap. So that's the thing. Like Jackass.
Well, assuming they don't go too crazy with stunts and shit.
Yeah, and because if they give a smaller budget for the TV show, much like they did in like back in the MTV days, it's a cheap product to produce. It doesn't take that much time. And I also think, as far as like Paramount Plus as a streaming service goes, I think this is a good choice of programming to invest in as well. Like they're like diversifying their library. I think it's a good stretch of that to help keep people subscribed between other things. And there's also a crossover of audience between some stuff for sure. Like not to be presumptuous, but like look at something like the South Park stuff, and then like the South Park specials, they cross over into the Jackass audience. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like there's a good they're building a decent library of exclusive and streaming stuff there.
All right. Dylan, for the first time in 3 years,
whoa,
they're hosting the Logie Awards. Logie Award nominations came out this week. Of course, up for the Gold Logie this year: Hamish Blake from Lego Masters Australia, Julia Morris from I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, Karl Stefanovic from Today and 60 Minutes, Mus Leong from MasterChef Australia and Celebrity MasterChef Australia, Ray Mayer from Home and Away, Sonia Kruger from Big Brother Holy Moly, Dancing with Stars, All Stars, The Voice and Voice Generations, and Tom Gleeson from Hard Quiz. Of course, Tom Gleeson, the longest held winner of the award, seeing as he's held the Gold Logie since 2019.
What is the criteria for the gold logo? Like, what's the?
Just who do people like the most? It's a
Is
popularity
that it?
contest.
Like, is that basically what it?
Yep.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I only watched one of those shows, which is Lego Masters. So
Yes. So couple of changes to this year's awards. The most popular presenter award has been renamed the Bert Newton Award in honor of Bert Newton, who hosted the Logies 20 times and himself won 4 gold Logies, was a pioneer of early Australian television. And this year will also mark the debut of a new award, the Silver Logie for most popular Australian actor or actress in an international program, recognising the achievement of Australian talent overseas. So the first nominees of
they've
this...
literally made an award because everyone from here keeps leaving to fuck off elsewhere and doesn't do anything here. That's hilarious. Oh my god, that's fucked. You got to be kidding me.
So for context, the nominees are Angry Rice for Mayor of Easttown, Jackie Weaver for Yellowstone, Murray Bartlett for The White Lotus, Sarah Snook for Succession, Troye Sivan for 3 Months, and Yvonne Strahovski for The Handmaid's Tale. So that I think that's an interesting addition, and like it makes sense because, you know, there's more of this international content than there is Australian content that people watch, and like
that's not a good thing though. Like the fact that the Australian awards had to make an award to award Australians doing stuff outside of Australia, like come on. How's
that any different to the actor awards, like having a version where they give awards to international films?
Well, it's different. They're focused on international film. This is best international.
This is
film,
just one category.
Yeah, but it's like the way it's worded. It's like best Australian actor who's not doing shit in Australia. Like, come on.
I think it's fine. You know, I'm pretty.
You know what's good about the Logies? Bump was nominated.
Yeah, Bump was nominated for most outstanding drama series. And Claudia Carvin was also nominated for most outstanding actress, I believe. Not in the most popular category, though. So
bullshit. Absolute bullshit.
What are you going to do? Yeah.
So it's bullshit?
So yeah, if you're a fan of Australian TV, like, cool.
No, like the reason I don't really ever care about the Logies is because it's just all like, every time it's just like, just a bunch of reality TV shows. You know, just like the reality TV show awards. Like, here's the best of Australian TV. Reality TV. That's all we do. MasterChef and look, as I said, I just watched Lego Masters, but like that show's actually good. Like, it's fun. But like most of the time it's just like a bunch of competition shows, reality TV shows, whatever else. And then you look at this year's nominees, it's like, okay, well, the majority of actual scripted content, where's it coming from? Streaming services. Majority of it.
I guess the most outstanding drama series are Bump, which is on Stan, Love Me, which is on Binge/Foxtel, RFDS or Royal Flying Doctors Service, which was on 7, The Newsreader, which I feel like came out ages ago. That was on ABC, and then Wentworth, The Final Sentence, was on Foxtel. So
yeah, and Wentworth has been nominated every other time, and that's like a big like Logie winner, and that's Foxtel show. Yeah, like there's just, it's just, I'm just shocked that like the little care of like any, like if this is the reason I don't watch normal TV is because you just flick it on and just some fucking cooking show or some shit's on.
All right, you heard here first. Channel 10, Channel 7, Channel 9.
Farmer's cousin wants a wife. Farmer's bride wants a wife. The daughter wants a wife. The granny wants a wife. You know what I mean? Like,
so many
farmers'
wives.
animals, dogs, cousins, brothers, sisters, cats, parrots wants a wife. Fuck off.
I mean, there's other stuff on television as well.
Football.
Yeah,
who cares?
Football. Bluey's going to take out most offending children's program. That's like a shoe-in.
Bluey's the only good thing to come out of Australia in 10 years. Fucking.
Wow, tell us how you really feel. All right, Dylan, every week there's so many different new projects having new directors or actors attached. We can't cover them all, so we're going to do a segment that we like to call Would You Want to Invest? In which, Dylan, I'm going to give you a different project. You tell me if you like to fully invest, partially invest, or not invest in these projects based on any criteria you decide on. So yeah, let's kick things off. Long Shot and Warm Bodies filmmaker Jonathan Levine has been set to direct the buzzed-about sequel to the beloved 1987 Dirty Dancing, which Lionsgate is launching for next week's Cannes market. In the sequel, Jennifer Grey will reprise her iconic role of Frances Baby Houseman as she returns to Kellerman's in the 1990s. Like the original, the sequel will be a coming-of-age romance centered on the experience of a young woman at the summer camp, but Baby's own journey will intertwine with them to create a multi-layered narrative.
This baby says no invests.
Do you like Dirty Dancing?
It's alright. I mean, I can't do it for too long because it just gets very hot and sweaty.
The movie Dirty Dancing.
Oh, right.
Can't do it too long, otherwise you get hot and sweaty.
Yeah, you can't watch it too long or else you get too hot and sweaty. No, the movie's fine. I just think the director and the script, I just don't feel like it's something that will do well. I don't think like most people care about Dirty Dancing that are of the age who that project would be for, you know. And Warm Bodies, not a good movie. I don't like it, so.
You don't like Warm Bodies?
No, I didn't like it.
It was fine.
I didn't like it. Nothing against Nicholas Holt.
You never watched 50-50, right?
No, I didn't watch 50-50.
That's a great movie. Did you like Long Shot? That's a good one.
What?
Long Shot.
Yeah, I did like
Seth
Long Shot,
Rogen.
I guess.
Charlize
Yeah,
Theron. Jason Momoa is currently working on a project with Eternal Scribes Kaz and Ryan Firpo. It is tentatively called The Executioner, with the storyline that's under wraps is billed as a fun action murder mystery in the spirit of Knives Out meets The Lord of the Rings. No attachers as of yet. No director as attached as of yet.
No invest. That sounds like a bunch of keyword, buzzword, tick box bullshit. No invest.
All right. Suicide Squad filmmaker David Ayer is aboard to direct Jason Statham in the action film The Beekeeper, a hot package which Miramax will be shopping at the upcoming Cannes market. The fast-paced action thriller, which is steeped in the mythology of beekeeping, follows a man's personal journey of vengeance, which takes on national stakes after he is revealed to be a former operative of a powerful and clandestine organization known as the Beekeepers.
I'll partially invest because I just want something that I assume will make some money and I can put it towards something else I care about.
All right. Francis Ford Coppola is set his cast for his self-funded movie Megalopolis. Adam Driver, Natalie Emmanuel, Forrest Whitaker, Lawrence Fishburne, and John Voight will star in the project as written and directed by the Godfather filmmaker. The logline on the film reads, "The fate of Rome haunts a modern world unable to solve its own social problems in this epic story of political ambition, genius, and conflicted love."
Fully invest. Like I'm not gonna Francis Ford Coppola movie. Plus, Adam Driver's in it. It's gonna make money, right?
Probably. Maybe.
Seems so.
I don't know. Did any of the movies that he came out with last year make any money? Did it make money?
Probably not enough, no.
You know, whatever makes Francis Ford Coppola happy. You know, as long as he doesn't take like 2-3 years to make it, you know, going crazy. Emily Blunt will star in Pain Hustlers, a crime conspiracy film directed by Fantastic Beasts Helmer, David Yates. From a script by the true American writer Wells Tower, the film is produced by Lawrence Gray through his Grey Matter Productions banner in Whitewood Film Pictures. The movie's official logline reads, "Dreaming of a better life for her and her young daughter, Liza Drake, a high school dropout, lands a job with a failing pharmaceutical startup in a yellowing strip mall in Central Florida. Liza's charm, guts, and drive catapult the company and her into the high life, where she soon finds herself at the center of a criminal conspiracy with deadly consequences. In the vein of The Big Short, American Hustle, and The Wolf of Wall Street, Pain Hustlers is a hilarious, dramatic, and wild journey to the corrupt heart of the American dream."
Full invest.
All right.
Sounds like an Oscar bait.
Maybe. Neon, the Oscar-winning studio behind Parasite, has acquired US rights to Mother's Instinct, a psychological thriller starring Jessica Chastain and Anne Hathaway. Mothers is a remake of the 2018 critically acclaimed Belgian film Jewels by director Olivier Masset-Depassi. Masset-Depassi will direct the English-language remake of his film. The logline is, set in the early 60s, best friends and neighbours Alice and Celine both live an idyllic traditional lifestyle with manicured lawns, successful husbands and sons of the same age. Life's perfect harmony is suddenly shattered after a tragic accident. Guilt, suspicion, and paranoia combine to unravel their sisterly bond, and a psychological battle of wills begins as a maternal instinct reveals its darker side.
Yeah. I mean, it's by A23, so I'll fully invest.
No, I get it now. Sorry.
You was gonna go through.
All right. Fresh off her second BAFTA win last night for British drama Help, which on the side note, can you believe that it's a sin didn't win anything at the BAFTAs?
It's a sin.
It is a sin. And also, speaking of the BAFTAs, I didn't bring it up earlier. Go check out Doctor Who podcast, Fish Fingers and Custard, in which we talk about the brand new Doctor who's announced online. I'm kind of unceremoniously, but yeah, it's a good discussion. Back to Joan Coma, who has found her next project in the shape of feature thriller, The End We Start From. Set amid an environmental crisis that sees London submerged by floodwaters, the feminist survival story focuses on a young family torn apart in the chaos. Coma will play a mother who, with her newborn child, tries to find her way home, navigating the most challenging apocalyptic start to motherhood.
Partial invest simply because I'm worried that it won't make money, but otherwise it sounds good.
All right. Last one. Richard Linklater is set to sell the true story of an undercover hitman played by Top Gun Maverick star Glenn Powell. The Oscar-nominated Boyhood Helmer will direct and co-write action comedy Hitman, which is based on a Texas Monthly magazine article by journalist Skip Hollandsworth. Powell will play Hangman in Paramount's Top Gun Maverick. Will co-write and star in the project as a Houston cop who's working undercover as the most in-demand hitman in Houston until one day he breaks protocol in order to help a desperate woman trying to escape an abusive boyfriend. The project is based on a 2001 article in Texas Monthly that tells the fascinating story of a hitman, Gary Johnson, a staff investigator at the Harris County District Attorney's Office who plays the role of a hitman for police requiring the help of an undercover officer to catch individuals ordering a hit.
Fully invest. It's a Linklater film. I'm going to fully invest in anything Linklater. Done. Don't even need to read the synopsis.
It's a fascinating synopsis, though. So
it is a fascinating synopsis, but I mean, there's nothing above fully invested.
I mean, it's really... you know, has he been successful these last couple of months? You know,
why not? You know? Oh, Linklater.
Yeah.
I don't know. Netflix doesn't tell you if his fucking movie does well. I have no idea.
Well, did you really love Apollo 10.5?
I thought it was good.
Did you watch Where'd You Go, Bernadette?
No, I haven't watched that one.
But, you know, why not?
I would have fully invested.
All right. Let's move on to giving some thumbs to trailers. Of course, you can find all of the trailers that we're going to talk about in the show notes to this episode. So let's just jump straight into it. First trailer for this week is Cha Cha Real Smooth, directed by Cooper Raiff, starring Dakota Johnson, Cooper Raiff, Vanessa Burkhart, Brad Garrett, Leslie Mann, and Raul Castillo. Fresh out of college and without a clear path in life going forward, 22-year-old Andrew is stuck back at home with his family in New Jersey. But if there's one thing that belongs in his non-existent resume, it's how to get parties started, which lands him the perfect job of motivational dancing at the bar and bat mitzvahs of his younger brother's classmates. When Andrew befriends a local mom, Domino, and her daughter Lola, he just finally discovers a future he wants, even if it might not be his own. Dylan, what do you think of the Sundance hit Cha Cha Real Smooth?
His last movie was in college. Now this movie is about a character. He's playing a character out of college.
Yes.
Not the same character, but I see a theme here. No, this looks really good. I thought this was very heartwarming. Just, you know, it almost feels like paid by numbers, but to a degree it's not, because I'm seeing a movie about a character who's like getting parties started for kids and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely, the trailer hits on all the heartwarming vibes, and, you know, like by the time I got to the end of the trailer, I was like, I would happily watch that tonight if I could. Like, I would definitely put that on. I want to watch it. So double thumbs up. I did talk about his first film on here and said that was very good. You still haven't watched it because I don't think it's ever going to release in Australia, but
no, yeah, I have to. No, well, so I can rent it and stuff. I'm just saying.
Can you? Okay, I wasn't sure if it was available.
Maybe later this year. I don't know what our schedule is look like, but you know, we'll see. So yeah, this is. I really like this trailer as well. I think it's very well done. I think everybody's super likable. Like, you know, really interesting take, and like the setting, the whole party starting thing is quite an interesting idea, and then, you know, kind of this connection between Cooper and Dakota Johnson's characters, you know, is interesting to watch, and obviously complications are going to come from that. Also, his connection with the daughter played by Vanessa Burkhart, who I assume is probably autistic as well, not just portraying an autistic character, because that's the thing to do nowadays. Yeah, their relationship.
Yeah, see ya.
Yeah, their relationship looks really great. So yeah, I'm looking forward to heartbreaking tears.
And is it the Dakota Johnson's husband? Is that not the fucking guy from Sex Education?
No.
No.
Which
Who is
guy?
it? I thought it was like the kid from like the last season. I mean, I literally watched the trailer before we started recording. Like the silent type. It looked like him. Who is it?
So.
Why do I recognize him?
Do you remember Army of the Dead?
Yes, I do.
He's one of the dudes from Army of the Dead.
Okay, right.
Like super gung ho. I think he dies pretty quick.
Yeah, he's gonna die in this movie too.
So they can be together. Yeah. So this is coming to Apple TV Plus 17th of June. So look forward to that. The next trailer we've got, I'll clarify, Red Band
double
trailer.
thumbs up.
Oh, double thumbns up.
Come on, thumbs for trailers, Ash. Fuck's sake.
I'm just so focused on like.
Give your thumbs. Give the thumbs out.
I don't know if I'll be able to give thumbs to this next trailer, which is a Red Band trailer for Crimes of the Future, directed by David Cronenberg, starring Viggo Mortensen, Lea Seydoux, and Kristen Stewart. As a human species adapts to a synthetic environment, the body undergoes new transformations and mutations. Accompanied by his partner, celebrity performance artist Saul Tenser, showcases the metamorphosis of his organs. Meanwhile, a mysterious group tries to use Saul's notoriety to shed light on the next phase of human evolution. Dylan, you seem like you're all about this. What do you think of the new trailer for Crimes of the Future?
Yeah, double thumbs up. I'm very keen. This is like Cronenberg coming back, combining a lot of his stuff, but obviously most prominently this is his return to like body horror stuff, which is where he got his start. But also just as I'm very keen to see that the subject matter and just like touching on the idea of, because you could watch it and be like, oh, this movie's just fucked up. But I mean, the idea is obviously like the idea is the human species gets so bored in the future of technology or like entertainment, everything's, even sex is so boring now that's like, they have that line in the movie, it's like surgery is the new sex, I think she says, or something like that. Yep. So there is like a point to the movie for everyone who likes to argue they're just about shock and all that sort of stuff. I'm very keen. I think it has, like, the cast is really great. Viggo Mortensen and Cronenberg together is always a fucking banger of a film. In fact, I'd say a lot of Viggo Mortensen's best movies have been under the direction of Cronenberg.
But Eastern Promises, right? Or History of Violence.
And A History of Violence, yeah. Both of which aren't body horror movies, but they're really fucking great movies. They're just generally, like, thriller dramas, I guess, like poppy. Yeah. Yeah, I'm very, very keen. It's a fucking weird concept, of course. The trailer's obviously it's meant to be unnerving a bit. It's definitely not a movie Ash is going to watch and he's about to say that, but I'm very keen, yes.
I'm going to give this trailer a 1 up, 1 down. it does a great job of like hitting its target audience. I think I'll give it that. It's like this trailer will let you know if you want to watch this movie or you don't want to watch this movie. The thing I'm marking it down on is because I only just read that description for the first time just then. I got none of that from that trailer.
No, but I feel like the trailer gives you the idea that they're performing and creating new like organs and surgery.
I think they're just like cutting people up because that's the new kink. You know, that's what it seemed. That was my.
I mean, there's that part where you see him on the surgery table and there's like an audience above.
That's what most surgeries look like currently. You know, those doctors are like showcasing surgical. You know, I've seen medical dramas; they do that a lot. But yeah, a lot of interesting ideas. But yeah, there is some graphic stuff that I'm not really into.
How about that part where Lea Seydoux like starts sticking her tongue inside of his belly?
Where she pulls like a zip across his chest and like yeah, that's
not into that.
Not really, you know, especially if they're like she's gonna chest make out with, I don't know. Yeah. I don't want to even imagine the possibilities.
There's something very similar to that scene in the movie Crash, which you wouldn't like watching either.
Good to know. But yes, so this has a release date of the 10th of June, but I've not seen. It's not listed on any cinema. Like,
oh, don't worry, I already know if it gets a limited release in Australia, your boy ain't watching that shit until it's on digital. And
I don't. Yeah, but no, like none of. It's not listed as coming soon to any of the cinemas that I've seen around. So
yeah, I fucking doubt it.
Who knows? You know, let Dylan know if there's some way to watch. If I can't
watch it, yeah.
Maybe there'll be an announcement after Cannes. I don't know if it's been sold yet. So
this fucking bullshit Northman Twitter account, right? So let me open Twitter for a second, go on a side tangent. Hold on, because I've still got it here in a web browser, right? Just so I can read off exactly what the fuck it is. So I presume this is because I liked. You know, sometimes you like these tweets by these accounts.
They're like, hey, like this tweet, we'll send you.
Yeah, like when the movie's out and stuff.
I've got a pet peeve about those as well, but you continue your story first.
So I must have done this ages ago, prior to the movie. You know, like the trailer or something when it dropped, probably. Anyway, today, 7:11 a.m. as of the day recording, they tweet me this. At Viva La Dill, behold, hashtag The Northman is now playing in theaters and on demand today. Find out where to watch. WatchTheNorthman.com. Reply hashtag stop to opt out. Go to the motherfucking link. You know what it is. A bunch of bloody American bullshit fucking sites. Like, let me click this. Verizon. Yeah. Spectrum. AMC on demand. Why are you tweeting this shit just to fuck with me? Like, come on. Can't you see my account says I'm in Australia? You fuckers.
On a slightly less angry tone. You know, you click those for like the Disney or the Disney series. Like, hey, we'll notify you when the new episodes are out. They don't notify you until like 2-3 hours after they've come out. I've already watched it by that point.
Yeah, I already watched it. Exactly.
I've already dropped a podcast.
Yeah.
By that point.
Yeah.
Come on. You can't time these up to be the exact time. You know exactly when you're dropping these episodes. Bullshit.
Also, I don't want to say that I'm checking iTunes every day to see if The Northman has a release date on digital, but I'm totally checking iTunes every day to see if The Northman has a release date on digital.
It's fair enough.
It doesn't currently. Just in case you couldn't gather from my tone of anger towards this tweet telling me I could watch it, but I can't.
All right, let's move our anger away and talk about our next trailer. Emergency.
Makes me angry. No, it doesn't. It's all right. Keep on.
Directed by Carrie Williams, starring R.G. Seiler, Donald Elise Watkins, and Sebastian Chacon. After an epic night of partying, the 3 college students return home to find a woman unconscious in their apartment. Worried the police will suspect them of wrongdoing, they try to get the woman to safety without drawing suspicion. Dylan, what do you think of this movie trailer?
Man, this looks so funny for a really dark, fucked up concept. Like man, that part where they're like, this part where they're like, this white girl, 3 brown dudes. I was like, this is actually a horror movie. And then they're like trying to play off jokes. I'm like, is this a dark comedy or is this a straight up comedy? Because I'm not sure it wasn't like going for it. But then they have that scene later where they're like, she like wakes up in that house or whatever, and they're like, this girl just told me she's 16. Then everyone starts running out. I was like, no, I think it's just supposed to be a comedy. So I mean, yeah. But for a second, I was like, man, is this is this a dark comedy? Like, is this shit about to go fucking, real shit? But no, it looks funny. I'm keen to watch this. It looks good. Double thumbs up.
Yeah, this is double thumbs up for me. I think it was Sundance that this was also a big hit at. Yeah, it looks really funny, even though it's obviously tackling very hard subject matter. Apparently, it's based on the short film by the same director, pretty much doing a similar kind of story that back like 4 years ago, and obviously doing the same subject matter, and that subject matter being more prevalent now. Of like, I think obviously it closes on that joke of one of the kids going, "How many people actually do get shot by?"
Yeah, he's like, How many people do the police actually shoot a year? Whatever, yeah.
And I was like, bitch, please.
Yeah.
But even the stuff before that, I think is very charming. Like the obviously nerdy black dude struggling to talk to women.
And he's like best friends. The cooler,
cooler dude,
whatever, I guess.
and the joke about her having to kiss a lot of butt to get to the parties, and you know, he's glad she doesn't have pink eye.
Glad you don't big guy. Yeah.
Really good. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. It's like almost like a horror film, because it seems like all those the white kids,
the girls that like try and track their friend down via Find My Phone or whatever. Yeah, that could not go well. So yeah, I'm keen to watch this, and it's 2 thumbs up from me. Great trailer. So this is coming to Amazon Prime, 27th of May. So not long to wait for this one. Soon. Next trailer, Hustle, directed by Andrew Ahn, starring Adam Sandler, Queen Latifah, Ben Foster, Robert Duvall, and Juancho Hernan Gomez. After a down on his luck basketball scout discovers an extraordinary player aboard, he brings the phenom back without his team's approval. Dylan, what do you think of Hustle? I was watching this trailer going, is this a real basketball player? I never heard of it. Is this real too?
It is a character.
Yes.
The person who's playing it is an actual basketball player.
Right, okay. Because my dude looks like he plays basketball. 2 thumbs up. It's not Adam Sandler doing like anything really particularly out of his wheelhouse. It just looks like he's playing, like, he's a massive basketball fan in real life, so I think he's just like himself. But 2 thumbs up. I think it looks really good. It's like Rocky, but basketball.
High praise.
I mean, that's what the trailer made it look like. So,
yeah, I'll give it 2 thumbs up as well. I think it's well put together. It's a lot of fun. Not completely serious. Obviously, got that fun joke at the start of him scouting some like Serbian place, and this guy pretending he's 22 when he's definitely not.
Who's that guy? This is my son. How old's he? He's 12.
Whatever. It's like he looks at least 30.
Yeah. And
it's like it's nice to see Adam Sandler continue some like serious roles, even though this is not hit uncut gems. It's like
there was also a story the other day that he may be coming back to do something with the Safdie brothers, and I was like, oh boy, yes please.
So this is 2 thumbs up from me as well, and this is coming to Netflix on the 6th, on the 8th of June. So this one's not far away. Last trailer for this week, and the earliest trailer to release out of this batch. Don't Worry, Darling. Directed by Olivia Wilde, starring Florence Pugh, Harry Styles, Olivia Wilde, Gemma Chan, Kiki Lane, Nick Kroll, and Chris Pine. A 1950s housewife living with her husband in a utopian experimental community begins to worry that his glamorous company may be hiding disturbing secrets. Dylan, this is a film that we've had on our radar for a long time. Knew barely anything about it. What did you think of the trailer?
Double thumbs up. I've actually watched this one 3 times, I think. I think it's a really good trailer. It's quite lengthy too, but just it looks, going from a comedy movie, like, which is really good, obviously, we like Booksmart.
Yeah.
Really good movie. But going from that to this, it's such a big leap and like jump. But everything in this looks so good, like cinematography, the shot, like the setting. Like I know she didn't write the script, so like that's not like it's thing there. The story looks really intriguing as well. Like, I have a lot of questions and intrigue. It's like Pleasantville or the Stepford vibes with like combination sort of feeling going on. Yeah, I love the cast. I think it's a great trailer. Really makes me want to watch the movie. I always like these types of weird, like these. I don't know what there's a genre for like movies with similar sorts of ideas as like the ones I just mentioned. That I guess like Stepford vibes. I guess is the main sort of one, maybe. I guess, but yeah, like these sorts of things, I just vibe with. But yeah, I'm very very keen to watch this. Double thumbs up. I thought it was a fantastic trailer.
Yeah, this is double thumbs up for me as well. I think, obviously evoking a lot of different films, and obviously having Florence Pugh in the main role, it's like, it's what's it call it? A24 horror film. I can't remember the name of.
Midsummer.
All the Flowers. Midsummer. She's screaming like that a lot. And it's got like weird freaky mirror shit in it and like ballet stuff, so you get like Suspiria vibes as well. Yeah, lots of different things it's evoking, obviously in that 1950s setting as well, adding like all that, and then you've got like Harry Styles and Chris Pine and Olivia Wilde herself and Jen McCann, all these, Nick Kroll, who seems like very out of the most obtuse out of all those actors. Yeah, looks really interesting. What are they doing?
I think it's like I actually think it's a park inside the Westworld universe.
So this is Westworld, the movie.
It's like yeah, and she's awakened, and she's gonna break out of the park.
She's a robot.
She's gonna join Dolores in the real world, and that's season 4 of Westworld coming out soon.
It's a possibility. Can't rule it out. But yeah, lots of intriguing imagery, like them just driving to this hill, and then Florence Pugh being chased up the hill by like people in red suits or whatever. Lots of interesting stuff there. Looking forward to checking it out in the future. 2 thumbs up from me. This one is coming to Australian cinemas 6th of October. So still a while away, but something to look forward to. Alright, let's wrap up this week's episode of What Do You Want to Watch with our What Do You Want to Watch Top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
This week we're doing our top 3 CW shows. Why are we doing our top 3 CW shows? Because it looks like CW is being sold from its current owners of Warner Brothers and Paramount in conjunction to someone who probably is not going to keep the current programming, based on the fact that this week they just cancelled 10 different shows. A lot of long-running shows as well. Let me see if I've got the full list. They cancelled Dynasty after 5 seasons, Charmed after 4 seasons, Into the Dark after 4 seasons, Roswell, New Mexico after 4 seasons, Legacies after 4 seasons, 4400 after 1 season, and Naomi after 1 season. That's on top of them previously cancelling Legends of Tomorrow and Batwoman. Yeah, crazy culling over it there. So yeah, obviously CW kind of like pumped out a lot of shows of the similar genre or age demographic over the years. Even if we don't have CW here, we know what a CW show is. So yeah, we're going to give our top 3 CW shows. Dylan, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Gilmore Girls. Which weirdly, I guess, counts the Netflix stuff now, but I don't know. Like, it doesn't count part of the CW universe. But so Gilmore Girls was how many seasons was it? I just brought it up. 7 seasons, but yeah, they don't have the Netflix stuff counted here. So yeah, 7 seasons. In which it was just about this small town. It followed the main character was Lorraine and her daughter Rory, and like she's a single mom. And just sort of followed it's typical sort of American thing where it's a small town where like literally everyone knows everyone and bumps into one another and all this sort of things, and everyone's like you've got the daughter sort of dealing with her school life and dating and all this sort of thing, and then the mum dealing with potential romances and work and whatever else. But the casting characters were really, really good. There's a bunch of people on this that you'd recognize that go into other things, including like what's some of the bigger names like Melissa McCarthy, Jensen Ackles, of course. Sean Gunn was like one of the main actors in it, like actually acting, not playing a raccoon. Yeah, it was very, I think it's very one of their biggest shows, I would think, because it's like, I mean, they even got pop finals and everything. So, really great, wholesome sort of just show. Didn't outstay its welcome to the point that they revived it shortly for a bit there. Who created it? Actually, I can't remember. I think it was someone who went on to do. Yeah, it was created by Amy Sherman Palladino, who of course is now on the marvelous Mrs. Maisel. So, yeah. Did you watch Gilmore Girls at all, or ever any episode? Or
I've watched single episodes. I haven't watched I wasn't watching.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. My number 3, and I've kind of gone what 3 shows I think would be a good encapsulation of the entire of the CW's run.
All right, I just did my 3 favorites.
Yeah, you just did your 3 favorites. That's fine.
Right.
It's
okay.
My number 3 is Riverdale. I think, this is obviously the modern teen drama, massive hit, adapting the RG comics, but also having this crazy mystery each season. Sure, I've dropped off it a couple of years ago now, and it seems like they've gone batshit crazy with multiple universes, and it's superpowers or all sorts of crazy bullshit. But while I was in it,
that first season was good shit. I tell you,
it was good shit. When it was at its best, it was the best. So yeah, Riverdale is my number 3. What's your number 2, Dylan?
Somebody save me. You are. My number 2 is Smallville. I still think, unless someone can tell me I'm wrong, the longest show I've definitely watched from start to finish, because it's 10 seasons and a million episodes and whatever else. And not typically the sort of show I vibe with. It's a Monster of the Week show, predominantly, especially for the first 6 seasons. It's literally just, random dude's got some fucking eye powers. Clark deals with school. Clark deals with girl problems. Clark goes saves the day secretly. Oh no, Superman problems. Oh, will I be Superman? But it was Superman, and it's probably one of the best live action adaptations of the young Superman story. Tom Welling made such a good Clark Kent. The cast was all really great. There's a certain character we don't talk about, the actress anymore, because she's in jail. But I mean, everyone was great. At the time, it was such a good thing. Yeah, definitely one of the. I remember watching that final episode. You finally get seen rip open the shirt, Superman symbol. It was such a journey to go on to get there. Many highs and lows. I'm not saying every episode was great or every season was the best thing ever, but yeah, overall, definitely I think one of CW's best shows. Without Smallville, you don't have Arrow, you don't have Flash, you don't have Legends of Tomorrow, you don't have all these DC shows. It all comes back to Smallville. Yeah, definitely one of my favorite CW shows.
My number 2 is Arrow, the show that succeeded from Smallville. Of course, building the Arrowverse that kind of held up the CW for a long period of time. Yeah, fantastic story of Oliver Queen. Even with all the crazy flashbacks and crazy reveals of what actually happened on that island, or that time he apparently was on that island. I had a great time. I loved all 8 seasons of the show. And it obviously spawned off so many other creations was involved in so many crazy crossovers. How could you not love it? Okay. So, Arrow number 2. Number 1, Dylan. I was kind of surprised when you said Smallville was number 2, but then it clicked what your number 1 would be.
Number 1, it wasn't always on. However, it was there for time and was mostly run there, and I think some could argue that's when it was most popular and known for, and I feel like most people would know. Anyway, Veronica Mars is number 1. And at any point, if I can pick Veronica Mars to be number 1 in the list, somehow, even using asterisks on the end of it, I certainly will. So Veronica Mars, definitely my number 1 CW show. Wink. I've talked about Veronica Mars. I don't feel I need to go over too much. Obviously, it's just one of the best TV shows of all time. It's a girl. She saves the day by solving crime. Well, not really solving crime. Solving high school level crime. I mean, there's actually some real crime. Actually, now that I think about it, there's a dead girl, and we have to solve that. But between every day, we need to figure out who snuck the lunch bar out of the backroom problems and why they're talking to this biker so many times and then all this other things. And I don't know, great cast. Obviously, just one of my favorite shows. I'll just go over it again. Number 1.
All right. My number 1 is a show that's pretty much synonymous with CW. Supernatural. Ran 15 seasons. 15 seasons, Dylan. It's a lot of television.
It's a lot of television, yeah.
A lot of television for a show that effectively revolved around 2 characters. Yeah. Obviously, I think the first 5 seasons are pretty fantastic. From there, it's kind of, obviously, the mythology grows and grows. I did kind of drop off at season 10, but I feel like any show that runs so long and has such a strong fan base deserves to be number 1, in my opinion. So yeah, those are our top 3 CW show lists. Let us know on Twitter what you would put as your top 3 CW shows by going to explosionero.com/Twitter, or you can jump into our Discord over at explosionero.com/Discord and let us know there. If you want to help us out here, what do you want to watch? Because you enjoyed this episode so much, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser, or tell people about the show, because that all really helps build the audience and like gets people to listen to some of the episodes, which would be nice. Or leave us 5 stars anyway. You can leave 5 stars. That's helpful as well. And if you really like this episode and throws with at least $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosionero.com/support. Also, head over to explosionero.com for news, reviews, and podcasts, especially all new Marvel cast, where you can find our Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness spoiler cast, or Fish Fingers and Custard, where you can find our discussion about Ncuti Gatwa becoming the 14th Doctor. Alright, that's it for this week. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.